Silakan Pak.
Oke, kurang ya? Halo, tes.
Ya, sudah Pak.
Oke, makasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, good afternoon to everybody. Specifically to those of you come from Philippines, from Vietnam, and others ASEAN countries. Would like to thanks to all of you and would like to welcome to this event, focus group discussion on the role of non-state actors from renewable energy sector to support target. Actually, this session today is the result of the joint study between METI and HIFOS, and in order to support the NDC target. I would like to thank to those of you from Vietnam, from Philippines, because today is a cross-learning session from Vietnam, Philippines, and Indonesia. So we would hear from both of you beside of from Indonesia, how the role of non-state actors in both country, even in Vietnam and Indonesia, as well as in the Philippines. So thank you to all of you. So we can start, and thank to Pak Paul, Butar, Bu Maya from HIFOS. Thank you, Bu Maya, for giving us the opportunities to study this project. Please, Bu Cookie, the time is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pak Surya. So, ladies and gentlemen, for this so we have live streaming through our YouTube channel. So if your colleagues, for example, would like to that much yet, but later maybe if they want to join, they can also follow the session through the YouTube channel. So for the first session, we're gonna have 3 presenters, and the 3 presenters will be talking about or from the perspective of the regulator. And for the first one, I would like to invite our colleagues from Vietnam, Mr. Hoang Van Tam. Mr. Hoang Van Tam is the Deputy Head of Climate Change and Green Growth Office under the Steering Committee's Ministry of Industry and Trade of Vietnam. And he's basically the one that dealing with climate change and green growth for energy and industry sector. Mr. Tam already following this issue for quite a long time, more than 10 years, and he has so many experience in this issue, and also especially from the point of view from of the government as a regulator. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Tam to share your presentation. You have 15 minutes so that we can continue with the other speakers from Indonesia and the Philippines, and later with the discussion. So please.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Cookie, and good afternoon, everyone. And please free to wait until I would like to share my screen.
You get the access already? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Is it okay? That's good.
You just need to make it like a full screen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity for present the something about the link between the renewable energy development and its implementation in Vietnam. So my presentation, I would like to show you about some mappings of renewable energies policies in Vietnam, and I would like to show the role of the renewable energy and its implementation. And finally, I would like to have a conclusion on this topic today. For the mappings of renewable energies in Vietnam, so as you may know that we are now implementing the power development plan period 2011 and 2020 vision to 2030, dated in 2016, issued by the Prime Minister decision. In this decision, we have the objective of renewable energy in general is for electricity generation. In this decision, for hydro, we set a target from 7% by 2020 to 10% by 2030, excluding big hydropower plant in definition of the renewable energy in my country. And for the wind energy, we estimate we achieve from 140 megawatt in 2016 to 800 megawatt by 2020 and 2,000 megawatt by 2025, and go to the 6,000 by 2030. It will take into account 2.1% of electricity generation from wind power by 2030. And for solar, I think this is very hot topic in my country. In the decision, we set a target by 2030, the solar energy will be 12,000 megawatt. But so far, we at the end of 2019 in my country, with the new feed-in tariff for solar. In Vietnam, we have a fast development of solar by achieve the end of 2019. We found that we have 5,600 megawatt in solar in Vietnam. It's very good news in Vietnam. So I think we have seen that a very big potential of the solar development in Vietnam. According to implement the target and objective of the solar energy and other kinds of renewable energy, we have a different type of policy to encourage and to promote on the renewable energy. That's including the feed-in tariff for solar, and the most update of the feed-in tariff in country now. We have the decision 30 approved by the Prime Minister in 2020, with the different types of the solar. In the first one is the floating, is you can see in the screen, and the 7.69 and US cent per kilowatt hour. And another one is solar farm. We will have the 7.09 US cent, and the rooftop solar is the last one is 8.38 US cent per kilowatt per hour. For wind power, we have two types of wind. The first one is onshore and offshore. In the onshore, with less than offshore, is 9.8 US cent per kilowatt per hour. And another renewable energy is the biomass to energy. We have also have the two types of biomass to energy. The first one is coal generation, is around 7 US cent, and another is 8.47 US cent per kilowatt hour. And the last one, I think we have the waste to energy. The waste energy feed tariff for waste energy. We have two types of the technology. The first one, the solid waste incineration. We have the feed-in tariff for the 10 point around 10 US cent, and another one, the CH4 collection from landfill. We have the less than previous one is 7.28 US cent per kilowatt per hour. And now we go to according to our renewable energy, and we have seen that the role of these kinds of energy to NDC implementation. The first one I would like to show you that the definition of BAU, BAU as usual in energy sector. In our estimation that, and for electricity generation, you can see that we are growing by to 2030. Is most of them is depending on the coal power plant, and we have a share of the different types of renewable energy in the graphic here. And the bowl for the second bowl is we divided by the energy consumption, biofuel consumption. We have seen that in my countries, most of the energy consumption depending on the electricity. And second one, I think to the coal and oil and other products, maybe the petroleum and other types of fuels. And the CO2, for the CO2 emissions from energy sector, we have the business as usual. By 2030, we have the over 650 million tons of CO2 from our sector. That mostly dominated by the electricity power. And then as another sector from industry and transport is the following that. I think the biggest emission from electricity power is the biggest in our sector. Under our modeling of renewable energy and energy efficiency in the core measures to achieve the NDC implementation, we have estimates in different scenarios from 10%, 15%, the current policy in the NDC with 20%, and the most ambitious is 30%. So when we see that in align with the different types of the scenarios, we have the estimates about the share of renewable energy and final energy consumption saving in our scenario. But I would like to focusing on the two types of the target for NDC. First one for the 10 and 50% scenarios. And thus we have to reduce the final energy consumption by about 7%. And we have to increase renewable energy share of electricity generation by 23 and 53 above business as usual. And the second scenarios, and we estimate with two types of targets of 25 and 30%. I think this is a very ambitious target that connected with international support. It requires to combine the center solar PV and wind capacity to reach about the 25%, 25 gigawatt in capacity, and to the 26%, 26.8 gigawatt respectively by 2030. And but in the condition of Vietnam now, we have manageable about the 11 to 12% share of the variable energy, renewable energy generation from both solar and wind. But over that, I think that we need to have further technical support for stabilize our grid and our absorb the renewable energy capacity very bigger than we have now. So the final, I think is for the limited time, so I'd like to go to the conclusion. I think under our estimation, we have seen that the renewable energy is a significant to reduce the CO2 emission source in energy sector. And it will be the important role of greening electricity generation in context of Paris Agreement implementation in the coming times. So as I mentioned that with the booming of our renewable energy in my country, with the lesson learned from that, we need to have a further international support, and regional cooperation will be very important for dealing with the barriers of the technical issues, and that's including the how to absorb and how to stabilize the grid when we have a very big renewable energy generation at the same time as the same areas. And we will hope to get more ambitious of renewable energy target for climate change achievements. So this is my presentation, and thank you very much for the hearing, and hope to see you in the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a very interesting presentation, and there are, I'm sure, colleagues from Indonesia will have some questions also about your presentation and the achievement that Vietnam already made. I would just now invite Pak Haryanto. Pak Haryanto is the Director for Energy Conservation at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. And Pak Haryanto is currently, if I'm not mistaken, correct me, Pak, if I'm wrong, is the focal point for climate related issues within the ministry. So Pak Haryanto, you have 15 minutes, Pak. Please, Pak.
Thank you, Bu Kuki. Selamat ketemu kembali, Bu Kuki. Mohon izin untuk menyampaikan hal-hal yang terkait dengan NDC sektor energi. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to present our progress in NDC energy sector in Indonesia. Let's me to share our presentation first. So yeah, thank you. I will start to present NDC target, especially for energy sectors in Indonesia, and also renewable energy progress until now. And at the beginning of my presentation, I would like to mention about our commitment in Paris Agreement, that we have the target to reduce greenhouse gas emission. This is the target is around 834 in total, and for energy sector especially is contribute around 314 million ton CO2 equivalent reduction. And how to achieve this? I would like to present what our regulation in terms of energy, renewable energy, and energy efficiency. If we refer to our regulation, government regulation number 79, that we have the target in 2025. Renewable energy mix is about 23%, and energy efficiency target is about 17% in 2025. And what happened until now, that in NDC projection sector roadmap until 2030, I think we could break down the contribution of each activity or mitigation regarding to the renewable energy. It is about 20% in 2017 and getting increase until 2030 around the projection is until 54% in 2030. And in energy efficiency mitigation is about 20%, and in 2030 will increase until around 30%. So it is the correlation, the role of renewable energy and energy efficiency in NDC projection until 2030 in Indonesia. And it is the roadmap until 2030 from 2019 that until now the achievement of NDC target can be seen in our presentation, that in 2015, 2016, 2017, the achievement is lag behind the target. But starting from 2018 until 2019, then we could achieve the target even more, a bit exit from the target. And I think this is good signal that we, with our effort, that we could achieve the target, especially for the annual target in NDC energy sectors. And if I could show the detail of the achievement of the NDC energy sector, we could break down the mitigation of the energy sector. One is energy efficiency. It is around 20%. That it is the achievement in 2019. And energy, renewable energy is around 54%. And then utilize the fuel, efficient fuel, also contribute in achieving the target of reducing green gas. And as we can see here, that the renewable energy is very significant in contribution to achieving the target in energy sector, NDC energy sectors. So then we would like to break down the energy sector mitigation action. This is based on presidential regulation. What the mitigation actually in the energy sector in terms of reduction of emission. In renewable energy and energy efficiency sector, it is including the mitigation in how to develop renewable energy such as geothermal, solar, mini hydro, micro hydro, wind, hybrid, biomass, biogas, and also biodiesel. And in the energy efficiency sector, the mitigation is including the mandatory for energy management, energy efficiency partnership, standard and labeling for home appliances, presidential instruction. This is like something like mandatory to implement energy efficiency, and also PV and retrofit street lighting. And in oil and gas sectors, the mitigation is including kerosene to LPG for cooking. This is something like the substitute or converting the kerosene to LPG for cooking, and then natural gas for transportation, natural gas for household. And in electricity sector, the mitigation of NDC in energy sector is including the hydro power plant and also clean coal technology for power generation, and then switch heat recovery for electricity generation and also co-generation application. So the addition for identification mitigation activity for the renewable energy and energy efficiency sector, also in order to contribute in reducing in energy emission in energy sector is including biomass from palm oil. Biomass, this is coal dual fuel for coal power plant, and then hydrocarbon refrigeration and also green building. And in oil and gas sector, this is the distribution or converter to fishermen, and then gas flare on oil and gas industries, also premium replacement with Pertamax, methane gas in the upstream sector, and also convert the RON 88 substitution with RON 90 to 92. And in electricity sector, it is also adding some mitigation. It is the grid and distribution maintenance, and also cap and trade policy. I think all of this mitigation activity will adding the how to achieve the NDC energy sector in Indonesia. And then also we already identification the additional mitigation activity in transportation sector, like commuter train, double track rail, and switching truck, vehicle technology, MRT, BRT, and etc. I think this is the contribution from transportation sector in terms of energy sector. And then in building, we also identification of the additional mitigation, such as construction and building policy, and then construction management, building design, building, and also apartment building. So renewable in Indonesia, as we mentioned previously, that the achievement in reducing energy, emission reduction is also rely on one is renewable energy development. And as we know that we have abundant resources in renewable energy in Indonesia, as we present here, that we have the total potential around 417 gigawatt, and now just utilize around 10 gigawatt. So I think it is enough resources in order to achieve this renewable energy development. But until now, we have any challenge, how to achieve the target in 23% in 2025, because until now, as based on the data that we achieve around the 9.50% in primary energy mix, renewable energy mix in Indonesia. I think the gap of from achievement to the target is still quite high, and we now trying to how to accelerate with many effort in Indonesia. And here I want to show the achievement until now in 2019 that in electricity, the power generation in renewable and based on renewable energy is around 10.3 gigawatt. And then if we develop as a business as usual, that the growth yearly is about 500 megawatt. So we have still big homework how to achieve the target in 2024 in terms of middle RPJM, rencana pembangunan jangka menengah, middle term development planning. And what the additional capacity that we planning from 2020 until 2024 in order to achieve the target, we can break down for every renewable energy commodity, something like this. That bioenergy we want to develop around 1.29 gigawatt, and then hydropower 3.9 gigawatt, geothermal 1.1 gigawatt, solar power 2.1 gigawatt, and wind about 729 megawatt. This is the cumulative addition about 9.05 gigawatt until 2024. And this is the roadmap of renewable energy until 2030. That in cumulative, total cumulative, we should add 28.46 gigawatt until 2030. So what our effort in order to achieve the development target renewable energy, one is creating a clean and sustainable future energy system based on renewable energy while encouraging economic growth, creating jobs, and improving the welfare of communities in this area, and creating renewable development roadmap with various breakthrough in the framework of creation of new renewable energy market, and then also low-cost funding facility for renewable energy investment, and also strengthen policy to build a level playing field for renewable energy, like revised regulation and also designing presidential regulation. And lastly, I would like to summarize our presentation that one, the roadmap of NDC and energy sector has been prepared, and the energy sector NDC target in 2030 is to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 314 million tons. The achievement of reducing greenhouse gas emission in energy sector by 2019 has reached the target set. And next is the target of reducing greenhouse gas emission is in line with effort to achieve the renewable energy mix and energy efficiency implementation in Indonesia. And to achieve the renewable energy mix target of 23% by 2025, acceleration and breakthrough effort are required through several programs. And one that I would highlight here is that in renewable energy and energy efficiency, it is open that non-party system also involved in the development of how to achieve NDC in energy sectors in Indonesia. Thank you, Bu Kuki. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Pak Haryanto, for sharing the information and the update and progress in the energy sector, especially in renewable energy in achieving NDC in Indonesia. And it's interesting that during the last couple of years, even though it's not the NDC period yet, but the emission reduction being achieved within the energy sector is already how do you call it, beyond the expectation. So this is a good sign, hopefully, for all of us. Initially, we have presenters also from the Philippines, but it seems that they have problem with the internet connection and cannot get back to the discussion. So we are still trying to get them in this session, but I think we need to start with the discussion. There is already question in the chat box, and I would like to encourage everyone um, to put your question in the chat box if you have any. So there is one question so far that I can see for Mr. Tam. The question is, what is it the key factors that encourage players in Vietnam to develop renewable energy projects? So, Mr. Tam.
Okay, so thank you very much for your questions. So I think that's yeah, now it's difficult to say that what is the most important factor to facilitate the renewable energy development in Vietnam now. So I think that in Vietnam's I think in the recent years, especially for 2019. The year of the booming renewable energy for solar. Because we have new policy, and you can see the feed-in tariff in Vietnam is all the solar project implemented, implemented and connected to the grid before the end of the December 2019, and they have the feed-in tariff about very high. About 9.5 US cent per kilowatt hour, and that is the most attractive for the investor to invest in renewable energy, especially for solar in Vietnam now. So I think for the general, I think that we have to see the long-term benefit of the renewable energy for all stakeholders, including the government, relevant government and private sector, to see the role of the renewable energy in the long-term benefit for their business. Because now we face with some difficulties about the technical issue, infrastructure of energy to absorb the much more and more the renewable energy come to and connected to the grid at the same time. Especially the potential and the contribution of the renewable energy in our country is not balanced, not everywhere. So they focus in consenting in some areas, especially for the middle of country. And we face with short term, we cannot absorb almost the capacity of solar or other kinds of renewable energy at the same time. But another big, I think another potential renewable energy is wind. And wind we divided into the onshore and offshore. For the offshore wind, is the biggest potential, but now I think the investment cost for these kinds of renewable energy is still high. And we have to face with difficulties in infrastructure. Is very different quality compared to the solar or wind or offshore and onshore wind. It's easy, more easy than offshore. I think now the current policy is oriented in different types of policy, not the fixed cost of the feed-in tariff. We are moving to now different types of supporting, it depending on the types of energy and the regional energy in our country. And in the coming times, so we will think about the bidding mechanism for the renewable energy. We want to see that the price of the renewable energy more and more slowly, more and more decreasing, because we want to see the affordable price for everyone. Is because now if the share of renewable energy more and more, as currently we think that the price of energy for electricity for every people is still high, and it's difficult to get a target of the electricity accessing in all areas of Vietnam now. So I think this is my question for my answer for the question. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Since we also have our colleagues from the one that doing the research for us, I think it would be interesting to hear also from our colleague from VNEC on how do you see the the factor that help renewable energy development in Vietnam. So maybe if I can invite Mrs. Handang. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. Yeah, on on behalf of the team to conduct also the study, so I would like to add some more detail to the let's say quite comprehensive answer from Mr. Tom from the non-state actor side. I think this is a bit long story. We had to come back to the government policy to facilitate the independent power development since 2003. So since that time, since 2003, the private sector has been allowed to invest in renewable energy. At that time, is hydropower projects. So the investment from private sector become like kind of norm before they are not allowed to participate in the investment in power generation. So since 2003, so private sector they are allowed to invest it in. So since then, that small hydropower projects they are invested by private sector in Vietnam, and then the project owners they accumulate experience since then for the investment and also for the operation of hydropower project. And then when the feed-in tariff for other sector become more attractive, like for biomass and also for especially later for solar and wind, then the project owners in hydropower, they start to examine the opportunity and to invest in that sector. So they become like, let's say I think from our point of view, they have accumulated experience from the previous investment activities. And then they also catch up with the opportunity from new feed-in tariffs from the government, so they can like conduct the investment like shorten time to invest and to also like using the experience already having to operate the plant. So our company, we also has experience working with the project owners in wind sector and also in solar. So they are the one who also invested in hydropower previously. So they are quite strong in the capacity already in the power generation in general. So they understand, they have the technical teams, and then they also understand the principle for the power generation, and also like have working experience with the government for the investment. So yeah, so I think this is also very good kind of let's say factor that facilitate the renewable energy sector in Vietnam. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for adding to the information on what happened in Vietnam and the factors that help the development of renewable energy in Vietnam. Pak Haryanto, there are some questions, Pak, for you. I think I can combine the first two. It's basically colleagues from Vietnam would like to learn what are the acceleration and breakthrough programs that Indonesia intend to implement to achieve the renewable energy target by 2023, both in the primary energy mix as well as for within the electricity or power generation sector. Silakan, Pak. So, sorry Pak, belum di-unmute Pak.
Baik, ya. Sudah terdengar Ibu?
Sudah.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it's not so easy because the current achievement is about 9% until now. So some the strategies how to implement the renewable energy is, one is to attract the investors in renewable energy sector by improving regulation. As you know, right now we government still preparing the government regulation in terms of renewable energy price, and also the parliament also still in process to preparing the design the act of renewable energy. And in terms of how to a strategy to develop the renewable energy or to accelerate the renewable energy in Indonesia, we have the strategy. One is development of solar energy and wind energy massively, like preparing a market for solar PV and wind energy, including PV or wind for utilities scale, floating solar PV, and also ex-mining solar PV. And next is solar PV rooftop, and also solar PV for cold storage, hybrid solar PV with diesel, and also conducting state-owned synergy for the use of solar photovoltaic. And next is development of large-scale renewable energy with the concept of renewable energy-based industry development. It is consisting of development of renewable energy in industrial areas and special economic area, and also maximize the supply of renewable energy for smelters to reduce the utilization of smelters company power plants. And the next strategy is development of renewable energy based on economic development, and also development and modernization of national electricity infrastructure, and development of biofuel-based fuel in Indonesia is also very important because, as you know, we have enough resources in biofuel based on CPO. Then we developed a program of biofuel until now is biofuel, or that well known as P30 or P30. And now still try to have a demo project in green diesel 100% by Pertamina, and hopefully by utilization of CPU-based fuel, then also could accelerate and utilize renewable energy in Indonesia. So the technology is very, very important right now is how to accelerate utilization of solar energy, because we now have a program of solar PV rooftop in Indonesia, and then it is through the several programs that also including private sector, we believe that we also could accelerate the utilization of renewable energy in Indonesia. Thank you, Bu Kuki.
Thank you, Pak Haryanto. And there are also some more questions for you, Pak. But I think this is one of the interesting question is looking at the hydropower situation, Pak, hydropower generation situation. There is a target of having 3,000 megawatt hydropower in 2025. But looking at the situation now and understanding that we are only like 5 years away from 2025, what is it if is there any special program or action that will be taken by the ministry, the government, through the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, and maybe also other related ministry? And also I know hopefully there is someone also from PLN that can respond to it, because the question is also addressed to PLN. Is there any special program or action to accelerate the development in this hydro power generation so that we can achieve the 2025 target? Silakan Bapak.
Please, Bu Kuki, I will give opportunity to PLN first. I will add later on.
Okay. Is there anyone from PLN? I think no. I saw no. Mbak Kamia, would you like to respond to the question?
Yes, so I can see the questions for the for me and for the three speakers, including the yes, okay. Yeah. So the first question for the same question for our speakers today is what is the common policy to contribute to climate mitigation in areas? So I think that I don't. In terms of renewable energy, I think we should have a regional grid network. I think that lesson learned from EU countries, and they have the EU network and with transmission lines network, and they're easy to balance anything and to keep the stability of the electricity in the region when another region in the country they have the pickup of the renewable energy, or they slow down quickly, and they're easy to support each other. So I think this is the topic of our debate and our discussion today in how to connect the regional grid in the coming times. But I think in the ASEAN, Southeast Asia country now, we don't have the connection between the countries. And the second question for the carbon pricing, I think this is very interesting topic today, and this morning we have discussed in the country teams about the carbon pricing in the coming times. I think that now we in Vietnam and other countries, maybe Indonesia and Thailand and some other countries, we received the support from the World Bank to study about the partnership for market readiness. And now we are preparing for the next phase of PMR with going to the partnership for market implementation. in the next 5 years. And we think that the carbon pricing will be the important role of the mitigation to meet the NDC target in Vietnam. And we hope that we will decide what kinds of carbon pricing in preparing and implementation of next 5 years. So I cannot say that what kind of carbon pricing instrument will be applied in Vietnam. So I think that's the biggest potential for application is ETS emission trading scheme. We are thinking on that, and we think that we hope in the next 5 years it will be in practice in Vietnam. Even though in maybe in the piloting scheme in Vietnam, and hopefully will be fully implementation by 2030. Yes, so I think this is my answer for the question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, on the question, Pak, I think we have Mbak Kamia. Mbak Kamia, if you want to respond to the question on if there is any special program or special plan by PLN to accelerate the hydropower development to achieve the 2025 target, which is 1,000 megawatt. Silakan Mbak Kamia.
Thank you, Bu Kuki. I think the question was from Pak Siswanto, ya?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Pak Siswanto was also was the expert on hydropower. So what I understand from the PLN Green Transformation Program is that I think Pak Haryanto also mentions about the PLN program to increase the share of renewable up to 19.9 megawatt, gigawatt by 2024. And there are the first step to achieve the program is by implementing the RJPP. So it's the long-term corporate planning from 2020 to 2024. And then the second step is by developing a large renewable energy, and also the third one is by implementing the green boosters program. So for the large for the green boosters, I think one of the program is to utilize the public dam for hydropower. So of course it will of course for this program we coordination with the public works ministry will be very crucial here, because the dam is not belong to PLN, but PLN would like to use the dam for hydro. So that's what I understand for the green transformation program. I'm not sure if there is also someone from PLN renewable energy divisions that might better understand about this. But that's what I understand from the presentation from our board of directors about the green boosters transformations. Thank you, Bu Kuki.
Thank you so much, Mbak Kamia. Pak Haryanto, would you like to add something to
Yes.
Mbak Kamia's comment, please, Pak?
Yes, Bu Kuki, thank you, Mbak Kamia. Yes, as our understanding in RUPTL, that in order to fulfill the target in 2025, according to the national energy planning, that in the RUPTL is based on the high density technology like hydrothermal and also geothermal energy. And I think the PLN already have the project pipeline in terms of this planning until 2025 in order to achieve about the 3 gigawatt for hydrothermal energy. So no, as Mbak Kamia mentioned, that the PLN and also Ministry of Energy also cooperate with the Ministry of Public Work in order to utilize the existing dam and also renewing or revise the according to the pricing in order to attract the investor to build the geothermal energy and also the accelerate how to build the hydrothermal energy in Indonesia. We also coordination Ministry of Maritime and also Investment. They coordinate how to accelerate in order to build the hydrothermal energy that probably any problem in land and also in social culture energy that renewable energy resources there. Thank you, Bu Kuki.
Thank you, Pak. And there are also there are still some questions for you, Pak Haryanto. The first, I think, what is your expectation of, or not your expectation, but more on the ministry or the government expectation on the role of non-state actors in renewable energy to achieve NDC? And I think related to this, then, is there any reporting mechanism for non-state actors in the renewable energy sector? Silakan, Bapak.
Thank you, Bu Kuki. I think this is the question from Pak Paul Putar that you just mentioned. What the expected the role of non-state actor in terms of NDC target in Indonesia. Yes, I think, as I mentioned, that it is an open opportunity to contribution of non-state actor in terms of achievement of NDC in Indonesia, because like in development of solar power, I think it is widely open to non-state actor in order to build the solar power, solar energy in Indonesia. And also for wind energy, it is also, I think, very open the role of the non-state actor in terms of how to develop this kind of energy in Indonesia. In terms of reporting, I think Directorate of various renewable energy in Directorate General New Renewable Energy Conservation. Every year they collect the information in terms of achievement of some kind of energy like solar energy and also wind energy, and then convert to what the contribution in terms of reducing in green gas emission in Indonesia. But we also, in collaboration with Ministry of Environment and also Bappenas, also every year we compiling the report in terms of green gas emission reduction in Indonesia, especially for renewable energy development and energy efficiency, and also other sector and other subsector in energy in Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. Demikian, Bu Kuki.
Thank you, Pak Haryanto. I see Pak Haris. Pak Haris Yahya, do you want to add on what already mentioned by Pak Haryanto, especially on the reporting side? I think Pak Haryanto referred to you earlier. Silakan, Pak Haris.
Maaf Bu Kuki, Pak Haris sedang paralel rapat dengan Pak Menteri, jadi tidak bisa.
Okay, Pak. Sorry, maaf. Thank you, Pak Haryanto. So I think the last question that I have here addressed to Pak Haryanto as well, Pak Haryanto, and Mr. Tam already responded from the Vietnam point of view. It is about the collaboration within ASEAN countries. How do you see it, and how? Okay, I need to go to yeah. How do you see the potential of having this collaboration within ASEAN to reduce emission from energy sector basically? Silakan Pak.
Yeah, thank you, Bu Kuki. I think we very support in terms of if we have opportunity to collaboration with the ASEAN country in terms of how to reduce greenhouse gas emission in Indonesia, and also I think with others regional cooperation like ASEAN East, we also have a cooperation that we set up the target how to reduce in regional ASEAN country in renewable energy in 2030 and 2050, if I not make mistake. So I think with this collaboration, then we can share each other what the best practices, technology, how to reduce green gas emission in particular country in ASEAN, and also implement in other country in ASEAN. For example, we also right now have benchmarking to the Cambodia, if I not make a mistake, that they successful in implementing the renewable energy, especially in solar power energy, because they could reduce the price very significantly. So I think in terms of renewable energy, we support in collaboration with regional ASEAN country in reduction of green gas emission. Thank you, Bu Kuki.
Thank you so much, Pak Haryanto. Thank you, Pak Haryanto and Mr. Tam. With this, I will conclude our first session, and we still have the second session where Pak Paul Butar-Butar will moderating the session, and during the first session, we have views from government side, from the regulator side. For the second session, we will have views from the non-state actors or the player on the field. So, Pak Paul, the microphone is yours now. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you, Bu Kuki, for that nice introduction and also nice moderating for the first session. We come now to the second session where we will have the non-state actors sharing their let's say experiences on what their role could be in meeting the NDC targets. As mentioned earlier by Kuki, that we should have actually three countries represented here: Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam. But we see that our colleague from Philippines still have a problem in connecting to the microphone. So we will start with two speakers. One is from Vietnam, Ms. Nguyen Thi Can, Executive Director of Green Innovation and Development Center. And then the second will be Mr. Siswanto. He's director at one of the project developer, and he used to be with state-owned company PLN as a hydro expert. And we would like to invite our colleague from Vietnam, Ms. Nguyen Thi Can, to deliver her presentation. Floor is yours, Ms. Ngui.
Thank you, Paul Buta. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you allow me to share the screen?
Yes,
because
yes,
I would
you
like
can
to
do that
share
now.
the Okay. Because it is the said it's not allowed to share.
Nana bisa cek lagi.
Miss Khan,
Okay,
as
it's
a
done. It's done.
co-host, you can share.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I can do it now. Yes. Thank you for inviting me to share in this forum. I am the executive director of an NGO called Green Innovation and Development Center. At the same time, I also coordinate two networks. One network is comprised more than 20 NGO organizations in Vietnam working to promote sustainable energy. We also founding another network comprising multi-actor from non-state actor. So that is the Vietnam Coalition for Climate Action. And for today, I would like to share more about this coalition. So this coalition was found last year in 2018, and Green ID and WWF Vietnam are co-founder of this coalition, and the founding member also comprise a number of NGO and small business who are working on the renewable energy. And the reason why we formed this coalition, because we see that if only government, we will not able to achieve the target setting in the Paris Agreement, and climate change need the effort from everyone, every sector. And we see that non-state actor can contribute to the government effort to be able to achieve our goal. So with that in mind, we has worked and learned from a number of international networks. We join with the Alliance for Climate Action, and also we also connect with the C40 City Climate Leadership Group and Climate Action Network. We learned from them, and we found our coalition with an effort to contribute for NDC implementation, and also to achieve more ambitious target for renewable energy in Vietnam. As I said, our coalition is multi-stakeholder actor, including business, non-government organization, financial provider, consumer, community, research institution, and we work together. Our principle is the win-win, and we facilitate the collaboration between our members to support for sustainable energy, green development, and climate change adaptation in Vietnam. So we launched the network with the number of core foundation, core member, including some business like Solar Vũ Phong, Sơn Hà is also a solar company, and Solar Tech. And we also have some other NGO like SNV, Biogas Association, and Energy Efficiency Network who join with us. What we do, our coalition commit to take concrete action to contribute to the government, to join the government effort, and work together with existing network and alliance to respond to climate change and support for faster energy transition in Vietnam and global. This is the initiative from Vietnamese organization, and we also as member of the Alliance for Climate Action International. So we join with ACA at Global. And this global network coordinated by WWF. Um, we also have a vision and mission that we envisioned toward low carbon economy for safety, sustainable development and prosperity of our country. And we have a mission to connect resources and promote cooperation among stakeholders to accelerate the application of green, safe, and sustainable solutions at a reasonable and effective cost to all Vietnamese people and households. So with that's the mission and vision, we also identified the goal to facilitate multi-stakeholder collaboration and partnership for win-win and support for climate action in all the location in Vietnam. So we support and target the local community, household and small business to work with them and also encourage them to take action to support for the implementation of Paris Agreement commitment by 2030 of our government. We have a number of objectives here. We do communication. We disseminate information and knowledge to the community. We build capacity for the local government on climate green solution and share experiences from successful model that different members carry out in different locations. We also conduct study and implement the pilot project to demonstrate the new solution. And we link the ground experiences to the dialogue at the policy level to promote the dialogue and the discussion for the better policy. And we also support the member to mobilize resources and work together to bring the green solution to low community or low income household in the remote area. We also play the role of like making between the supplier and the consumer regarding the green solution. And with this effort, we launched our first program we call Million Green Home for Prosperous Vietnam. In this program, we first focus on the solar rooftop solution. And in the long run, we will promote the other solutions such as biogas, clean cooking stove, and energy efficiency solution. So this program led by Green ID, but have many other members join in our effort. And under this program, we have a hub to provide information for the household. And we also do many other activities following our objective. We have the second program we call One Planet City Challenge. This program led by WWF. It is the WWF initiative to call cities around the world to act and look forward for climate-friendly future planet. We work together and we work with the local government and some city in different regions of Vietnam to promote their green action and also connect them together. The third program we are working on now is that we do research and to support for the development of renewable energy integration and combination with agriculture. This program jointly implemented by Green ID, SNV, and WWF with some other members within our alliance. They come from supply and business sector. We are demonstrate the solution on the ground, and we hope that by the end of this year, we can have the solution and documentation of the solution we demonstrate, and we can share widely with the other stakeholder. And based on that, we want to contribute for the policy making process, because we see that Vietnam have a great potential for combination of solar as well as wind or biomass with the agricultural activity. But how we do it in a sustainable way to make sure that it is multiple land use, not only single land use for one purpose. That is something we need to do, analyze it, and also do the experiment practice on the ground. Um, we also have another program running by WWF, but we also want to open for wider network member and partner to participate. That is the greening production. This program, WWF is working with some association, including aquaculture, non-timber, and wood production, and garments, textile association. So this is coordinated by WWF, but the other member also joined with WWF to promote this program. Last but not least, program that we are doing in parallel is the promoting for benefits of clean energy and fair energy transition. We see that it have a great job opportunity for young people in Vietnam if we go with renewable. So this program built up on our initial study on just energy transition, and we are working with a number of partners to first sharing the research result, but also build the local government capacity understanding about the benefits of renewable and sustainable development. So we hope that with this effort, we can bring more actors from the ground to join with us. I think that is some information about our coalition. Is comprised non-state actors who are joining together over the last 2 years, and we keep continuing our program. It's not finished yet, but it just started, and some have some initial achievement, some is still ongoing. I think that I would like to stop here and will be willing to share further in the discussion session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khan, for the presentations. We would like to continue with the presentation from Pak Siswanto. Please, Pak.
Thank you, Pak Paul. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. May I share my screen, Pak?
Please.
Oh, sorry. So I prepared in March 2014. I just want to show that this is list of the hydropower at the time, which is under construction or under a PPA negotiation or even under study and design. So as I have a question on the first session that within 5 years, can we really develop 3,000 megawatt? Maybe we can learn from this picture, from these slides here. If you look at the top here in Aceh, Piusangan number 4 is now nothing, cancelled. It is a private IPP. Also Merebut 2, they never get PPA up to now. Piusangan 1 is a PLN project and not yet completed since 2014 and now already 6 years. And in North Sumatra, you see Asahan 3 is also the same. They just start construction now. At that time, it's already mentioned as under construction, but until now, main work maybe only between 10-20%. Wampu is finished and already in operation. This is IPP also. Masang 2 just study. Simango also just study, and then finally the location taken over by a private company, and then now fighting with PLN and nothing happened. almost the same with all the others, except some project like Semangka is already under operation, Raja Mandala is finished. But if you 2017, the loan was cancelled by the World Bank, and now they are still under discussion to get back the loan from the World Bank and start the construction. So I don't think that Upper Cisokan can be finished 2025 even. So with this condition, I think we thought something really drastically changed the way that we develop hydropower, then our target will not be achieved. So this also not a new presentation. This 2013. This is prepared by Bapenas and together with the Ministry of Energy. At that time, we identified what is the problem with the development of the hydropower and how to speed up the process. I'm so sorry that this is still in Bahasa, so but I will explain in English. So we know that there is a lot of obstacle to develop hydropower, especially there is so many permits that needed to develop just one hydropower, and this permit came from many different authority and starting from the local government until central government. So at the time, there's an idea to speed up this process, and then we make a list on what happened. So for the permit itself, we need 10 to 13 permits just to develop one hydropower, and then all the permit having their own procedure and requirement. There is no standard, so it will be very difficult to predict the time and also the cost to get all of this permit. And then for the land acquisition, I think because of the hydropower, actually most of it is in the forestry. So to get the forestry permit is need very long time. I think at that time we assume almost 2 or 3 years. And then there is also many hydropower is owned by not only one person or one company, but sometimes one location is owned by 2 or 3 companies, and then they fight each other. And also there is a lot of we need a lot of land when we want to develop hydropower. So there is also taking a long time to do the land acquisition. And also the same with the permit, and it is very difficult again to allocate and do the land acquisition itself. And from the planning also, there is a mismatch between there is no one plan within PLN as a state-owned enterprise for electricity and public works who develop dams and irrigation, dams for irrigation or for flood control. So sometimes the location in the same river, PLN want to develop hydropower, but public works suddenly came out with the idea to have a big irrigation dam and without hydropower. So that's why there's also in our regulation, hydropower is not the first priority to develop in the river, maybe the 4th or 5th. So also there is no guarantee on the quantity of water and also quality of water. And also from the financing. At that time, it is a very difficult to get financing for hydropower because it's a new business for the IPP. in 2013. So there is an intention from the government to help solving on this financing problem. And then in 2019, there is a good idea. At that time, I already retired from PLN, and I'm joining the Hydropower Association. And because this Hydropower Association invited by the Ministry of Energy to prepare a roadmap for hydropower. And at that time, we know that there is a gap between the planning in the government, central government offices, and also in the PLN 10 years planning. So if you look at here, this is the General National Energy Plan. They want to increase the installed capacity like this number by the year 2025. The total will be 15,363 megawatt. But actually, if we look at the PLN 10 years planning, we can only find around 7,432 megawatt. So there is a big gap here. We know that there is not the same idea between the government and the PLN. And then the Ministry of Energy asking the association to give an idea how to solve this problem. So then at that time we prepare a 3 scenario how to achieve this target in the government target. So we call it a business as usual, and moderate, and also optimistic scenario. So with this, we prepare what to do, and then what is the critical point, and how much we can reach the target by the end of 2025. If we do business as usual, it means that, like we mentioned here, that PLN will do the procurement based on the regulation number 50 2017, and then if we assume that this will be done by PLN, then the maximum that we can get is 2,536 megawatt. And we also prepare another scenario, we call it scenario moderate. And by this, it means that because at that time, PLN already done some pre-qualification they call DPT. And there is several hydropower already passed this pre-qualification. Pass means that the PLN already assumed that the company and behind the project is capable to develop the project. So if we use this list of a company that passed a DPT and giving them a chance to sign a PPA with PLN and ask them to start the construction immediately, then by end of 2025, we can assume that we can reach a 6,800 megawatt. The last scenario that we proposed by the association is that a very optimistic scenario. This including changing or preparing the new regulation for renewable energy development, and also some changing in the ministry decree. And also we want to have the new presidential decree for the tariff for renewable energy. So by this, it means that all the we are optimistic that all the hydropower in the list can be developed. Then we can get about 14,600 megawatt. So this is finished in, I think at that time it's around November 2019, but then we never hear anything about this. And I think I will end up my presentation by this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Paul.
Thank you, Pak Siswanto, for the presentation about the hydro project in Indonesia. If you would have any questions, please let us know so that we can pass this question to our speakers. And here we have already the first question to Ms. Khan. So the question is, Ms. Khan, are you there? So the question is, if the renewable energy plant in agricultural land is off-grid, is there any expectation of Vietnam off-grid capacity by 2020 or any year? If it is on-grid, is there any support from Vietnam government for small-scale on-grid renewable energy plant? Ms. Khan, can you respond to that question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I just I have to go out to pick up the paper. So now I see the question. I see it. Yeah. Okay.
So the question is, if there is, let's say, a renewable energy project, for example, a solar farm in agricultural land off-grid, is there any expectation of Vietnam of capacity by 2020 or any other year? Or if it is on-grid, is there any support from Vietnam government for small-scale renewable energy?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. It's clear.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Clear.
Okay, good. Sorry. Okay, so the question is the renewable plants is agricultural land is off-grid. No, I think our work with the agriculture combination with renewable energy is on-grid. So this is the dual use model. We would like to demonstrate that when we combine solar with agriculture, it still have some like crop. It's very suitable, and the productivity will increase. And at the same time, with the policy from the government for allow to connect it to the solar rooftop to the grid, so the farmer can earn from that. But it's small scale, not a very big scale like a utility farm of solar. For the off-grid community, we also work for the energy access by bringing the solar home system to the household, and also demonstrate a model of super mini grid. We install about 6 kilowatt peak of solar panel combined with battery. That provides the power for more than 20 households in a remote village. So we also build the small mini grid to connect the power from the solar PV to the household. So I hope that it is answer the question.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other question from our friend? If not, I have a question actually to Ms. Khan. So the question is, what is the thinking of non-state actors when they have to contribute to NDC? either through carbon pricing or through renewable energy project and so?
Yes, so I think when we talk about non-state actor, it divides on a number of like organization. For business, I think that for business, the driver for their action is the profits and opportunity. So they see the market opportunity. They see that it have the chance for them to have a bigger market, and then they go. So I think that the majority of the member in our coalition are the solar supplier, the solar rooftop, and also the biogas supplier. Um, for the one who are from the like the first field side, we didn't have anyone from that field to join with us. Yes, but I think that that for them they see it is a burden. If they don't see any incentives or support from the policy, it will become a burden for them. So I think that to be able to mobilize the business to join with the effort, the policy framework should be in place to facilitate the process there and create the motivation for the business to join. And for another side of the non-state actor is civil society organization. This group are quite active. I think that yeah, they work closely with the community, and they are the one who try to find the avenue to navigate in the system to bring the effort from the community, from the people together. And sometimes even we also put some pressure for both business and for our government to take more action. I think that is the character of like a different non-state actor in our coalition and in our society.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. We have another question for you. The mitigation actions that has been done by the coalition, is it, let's say, is it calculated as part of the contribution to NDC target, or is it just voluntary contribution?
We coordinate and we form coalition based on voluntary. However, we hope that in the coming year, our effort can be recognized and can be officially contribute directly to our national effort. I hope that anh Tâm can have the support to bring our effort to join with the government.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. I have another question actually, if there is no question from the floor. I have another question to Ms. Khan. As you may know, but I think Ms. Han know that in Thailand, the government promote already carbon offsetting. Is there any such kind of thing, let's say, promoted in Vietnam?
Not yet. From my understanding or from my knowledge, or maybe I missed the information, or Chị Hạnh may know better than me for that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, allow me to add some information because as Mr. Tom, he mentioned that today morning we had the kind of the task force to discuss for the carbon market set up in Vietnam, and then we had the strategy for the next 10 years from 2021 to 2030. So yeah, there are the different kind of the carbon pricing instruments have been discussed, and then at the moment basically there are the four kind of the different carbon pricing instruments. The first one is a crediting program. This is something similar to Thailand, and also like based on the CDM and JCM. Some of you may know and have been working in the sector. And then the second one is the emission trading scheme. And for the first one is a carbon tax, and then the last one carbon pricing instrument. What discussed that can be applied in Vietnam, could be applied in Vietnam, is the green certificate scheme. This is applied to renewable energies also. So in general, the government favor for implementation. The carbon tax is almost impossible for next at least 5 years because of complexity, not in the design. Carbon tax is quite straightforward. But then for the carbon tax in Vietnam, for the new carbon new tax, you have to go through the National Assembly. Our National Assembly had to have it approved and in the program for at least 5 years to approve it. So they can not exclude the carbon tax, but for next 5 years, it's difficult to is foreseen that it's almost impossible to apply the carbon tax in Vietnam. And then for the green certificate schemes, that's also not the readiness for apply is not yet kind of ready, not well established in Vietnam. So now is a focus on national crediting program. This is domestic one, is quite similar to TIVA in Thailand. And then also later on will be the pilot for the emission tradings in some heavy industries like cement or steel sector. So this is the case in Vietnam. So for the national crediting, it can be applied to the waste treatment and also to maybe consider for the cement sector. So so to the question, Paul, yes, Vietnam will apply some crediting program similar to Thailand in the coming time. Yeah.
Thank you, Han. Han is my colleague when I was working for South Pole. So the other question that if there's no other question from the floor, I would like to ask other question. So Han, to the extent of your knowledge, when do you think that the carbon pricing instrument will be implemented in Vietnam?
Yes, as I mentioned today morning, we just discussed the roadmap for that for next 10 years. So I think first we give the priority for the, this is not fixed, this is just a discussion, so don't quote it or because this is a discussion like the task force for the set up the carbon market in Vietnam. So I think in the next 5 years, it will be focused on the carbon domestic crediting program. So I think we can expect for the infrastructure like the MRV system and regulatory system or regulation side that can be ready in next 3 to 4 years. And then we can start for the national crediting program since 2024. This is very optimistic, awesome. And then for the emission trading, I think it will be the pilot will be later, like let's say after 2026. And then for others like carbon tax, maybe we just start to examine further afterwards. Yeah. So this is very initial. That is not fixed in any kind of government policy because this is at the moment, this is the initial kind of working program of the government. But just also for the information, for the confirmation for the interest of the government or the willingness of Vietnam to set up the carbon market, domestic carbon market is now ongoing because under the revision for the law on environmental protection, now they, in the latest draft, they have one article on the domestic carbon market. So it's expected that the revision of the environmental law can be passed by the National Assembly in this year or by early next year. So it means that once the revision of the law passed with the one article on the domestic carbon market is affirmed, that is set up the highest, let's say, regulatory level for the setting up of the carbon market. and then afterward the under law regulation in the issues like the government, the prime minister decrees, and also to further implementation and set up the carbon market in the issue afterward. Yeah, so this is for the information.
Thank you, Han. We have here actually someone from Ministry of Environment of Indonesia, and we ask questions on NSA role to our colleague from Vietnam, and we have asked also the same question to Pak Haryanto, but in Indonesian context, do you think that how the contribution of the non-state actors would be acknowledged by Indonesian government? I think Mbak Yeni from Ministry of Environment, if you could respond to that. Or someone from Ministry of Environment. Or Bu Lia. From Ministry of Environment and Forestry, can you please respond to that question? Yes, Bu Lia, please.
Sorry, Pak Paul. Thank you for the opportunity. But actually, several months I didn't discuss about the carbon trading because I moved to another office.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, maybe there is some colleague from Ministry of Environment and Forestry in this discussion. There is Miss Akmayeni. Maybe she will more updated about the carbon trading mechanism in Indonesia. But so far as I know that Indonesia right now is developing the presidential decree about a carbon pricing instrument. One of the mechanism is for domestic carbon trading, but it still need more development in the future, since it's just the beginning for the carbon pricing development in Indonesia. Maybe that's far as I know, but Paul, sorry if I can answer. Yeah, thank you.
Don't worry. Thank you, Bu Lia, and good luck in your new role. Bu Yani, can you please respond how the state, the government acknowledge the role of the non-state actors that especially the one that voluntary. Later on, for the mandatory contribution that automatically will be acknowledged in the NDC. But what about the voluntary actions? Bu Yeni?
Okay, thank you, Pak Paul. Sorry. Actually, regarding your question about what is the role of non-state actors and the meaning from the government side, I think that the roles of non-state actors in its activity or actions regarding the emission reduction is very important. Yeah, actually, not only for achieve our target on NDC, but also the commitment as a whole. Maybe Bu Lia has already mentioned about our new, maybe not released yet, about the carbon pricing president regulation, but I think I hope the regulation will maybe encourage its action or participation from the non-state actor, especially from the voluntary side. Maybe that's all, Pak Paul.
Thank you, Bu Yeni. Okay, is there any question from the participants? If not, I have actually one question to Pak Siswanto. So your number is about let's say the optimistic scenario that we could develop up to 15 gigawatt of hydro project, but in the plan of the government that has been presented by Pak Haryanto, there is only about 3,000 megawatt that is available to be developed. So question is, what would be or what to be done with the rest, about 12 gigawatt? What do you think? Please,
Sorry, Pak. I'm really at that time it's not finished the discussion. I mean, we prepared this 2019, end of 2019, and then after the roadmap prepared, nothing happened. It looks like every time is something like this. So government make a roadmap, but then PLN have their own plan. So then if we are looking at that time, we not just giving the scenario, but also list of the project. We are not just giving the number, but we also give a list of the project. But of course, it needs to speed up several process, like how the IPP will get the PPA from PLN, and at that time the idea, if you look at the scenario, we hope at that time is June 2020 we can all sign the PPA, but until now we're still waiting for the new regulation, and then that's why I make a question to Pak Haryanto. Even 3,000, I believe that it will not happen. Pak. So
okay.
if nothing changed, it will be very difficult.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Sis.
Yes, Pak, you're welcome.
Okay. Is there any other question that someone would like to ask to the panelists? From the previous session, also from this one, the last one. If not, it is now almost 4, and I would like to thank you everyone for participating in this discussion. To our speaker, Ms. Khan, Pak Siswanto, also to our friend from Vietnam, from let's say NSA in Indonesia, our friend from PLN as well, and hope to see you again in the other discussion. With that, I would like to invite Pak Surya to close our discussion today. Please, Pak Surya. Pak Surya.
Okay.
Please, Pak.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Bawang. No, I think we come to the end of our session today. Very impressive. I think that we can learn from our neighbors, from Vietnam, from Philippines, on how they treat, to reach the target of the NDC in the near future. So I think we have to learn also from Vietnam, who run the renewable energy very fast in the last few years, but they still, growing on the renewable energy sector, so they can contribute a lot on the NDC for the near future. So thank you again to Philippines, to Pak Haryanto, Pak Siswanto, ya. Tadi ada Pak Haris juga ada dari BTKE. To all of you, thank you, Pak Fabi as well. Hopefully, this will be our contribution to the countries, to our nation. Thank you, Pak Paul.
Thank you, Pak Surya. And just for announcement, since we have this discussion as part of our Bincang Bincang Meti, our Meti talk for this week. So we will not have any discussion on Friday, but we will be back again with our Metis talk next week at the same time at 2 p.m. We will inform you about the topic and who will be the speaker for next week. Again, thank you very much to all of you for the nice discussion. Thank you very much, and talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Ladies
Thank
and
you, Han.
gentlemen, thank you for your participation. We from the Renewable Energy Society or
Han.
Masyarakat Energi Terbarukan Indonesia. I'd like to thank your participation, and hereby we'll close this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.